The legend of Adlan Amagov continues to grow. His last fight was 9 years ago, and his last time in the UFC was literally 12 years ago. So who is this guy? Why is his name being brought up now all of a sudden? Well, let me go ahead and inform you and let you know the research I did and let you know who the fuck he is and what happened to him. So Adlan Amagov was a training partner of Carlos Condit and Jon Jones. Obviously, very two big names in the sport. Now, his name got brought up recently on the JAXXON Podcast with Carlos Condit, bringing up that he hit Jon Jones with a spinning back kick right to the liver and dropped him. And there's even some more research I did where Jon Jones literally in a clip says, "This is the baddest dude I know." So I don't think he's just saying that about anybody. And I believe, because I don't fucking speak Chechen or Russian or whatever language that I saw and found the interview clip, but all the comments are talking about what Carlos Condit had confirmed. There's also some prior videos. Apparently in like 2018, Jon Jones had gone overseas and did some sort of interview with some local media, and they had asked him about this story and he had confirmed it. And again, I don't speak that language, so I can't necessarily say I heard it and I know for sure. But from the comments and obviously from all these other stories, it seems like this is a legit story that actually happened, and prior footage of Jon Jones and like a post weigh-in going up to Adlan and saying, "This is the baddest dude I know," and doing his shirt logo of the Red Fury where he's like that. So it's very much shown respect for Adlan from Jon Jones. And Carlos Condit said the same thing himself. Not that he got dropped, but Adlan was piecing him up too. He got beat up by him pretty often. So the fact that this guy just poof off the face of the earth, what happened to him? His last fight was 9 years ago in some unknown Russian promotion. And then his last fight in the UFC was 12 years ago in 2013. And he was just completely about to go and fight for a belt, he was claiming, in 4 fights. I mean, that was his last fight in the UFC, 2 finishes, and then he goes on to say all he needs is 4 more exciting fights, and he's fighting for a belt. And keep in mind, in that era, we got Robbie Lawler, we got GSP, we got Johnny Hendricks, we got Carlos Condit. I mean, these aren't some just names. And keep in mind, we'll talk about his record in just a moment. I did name someone he lost to, Robbie Lawler. That is one of his only 2 losses. And his first loss would be Alexei Oleinik, his first fight in professional MMA, where he got Ezekiel choked. Yes, that heavyweight Alexei Oleinik that you know of is who I'm talking about. He even fought in Strikeforce and knocked out Anthony Lionheart Smith in the first round, like at middleweight. Like, this is not just some guy with some gym story. He was an actual prospect and apparently the first Chechen to fight in the UFC. Could this have been the first Borgs, what, I don't know, however Hamzat's nickname is, whatever the case is, but this is possibly the first version of that. Not saying that he was a wrestler, he was more of a striker, but he, even in his Strikeforce fight against Robbie Lawler where he lost, he took Robbie Lawler down. I'm not saying that's some sort of accolade, right? But it's not like he didn't know what he was doing on some level. And keep in mind, these are a couple of storylines that I instantly thought of when I was doing this research, okay? So he made a team called Red Fury, which he only trained in Russia with. And when he was in the States, he trained with Jon Jones and his team. But with Team Red Fury, guess who was on his team? Khabib. Khabib was on his team. Who would have thought that this guy had a young Khabib on his team? Who knows? This is what I instantly thought of. You know how Khabib ended up going into Team AKA? Could that possibly because Adlan had gone into obscurity and just retired and went off the face of the earth, and that's how he ended up being a training partner and friend with DC? I don't know. These are just things I'm throwing out there that I thought of instantly. I don't know exacts, but could he have been friends with Jon Jones instead? Could we have seen a complete evolution in his game because of Adlan's striking? Could he have been a better striker if Adlan was around longer with Khabib? I don't know. These are just some questions I figured I would throw out there I thought were interesting that came to mind. Ultimately, no one really knows why he had retired. They speculate it's because of religious reasons or family health reasons, and he wanted to be closer to home. Ultimately, not a talent gone to waste, but a talent we wish that we saw more of, I would say. And just to see what those matchups would have been, him versus GSP, a Carlos Condit outside of the sparring sessions, him versus Johnny Hendricks, a rematch with Robbie Lawler after losing the first one. And keep in mind, he threw an illegal knee after he had the grappling with Robbie Lawler, I should say. And then Robbie Lawler ended up throwing a flying knee and then hitting him with ground and pound to finish it. Go watch it. It's Strikeforce. Go look it up. I'm sure you could find it on YouTube. Ultimately, this dude was a gamer. He was an exciting fighter that we as fans lost out of these matchups. It would have been interesting to see the different, universe we'd be in if he was still around, but much appreciated. Obviously, the legends give him respect. And the tape shows it. I mean, dude was a beast. He was pretty young. He fought Robbie and when he was 25 and Robbie was 29. So it's not like he had some long career. He was still just getting going. So much appreciated for the JAXXON Podcast. I know they've gotten a lot of heat lately, but I figured it was a great topic to talk about because how many times you hear about Jon Jones getting dropped in sparring? And he said that was his only time feeling that pain. He was down for like 20 minutes if the quote I found was correct. Either way, hope y'all have a good one and I'll see you in the next one.